I'm about as subtle as a death growl in an echo chamber. Hit it!
Welcome backstage. I'm Damian Deadlove. Tonight's band is Overkill. That's right, we're talking about the boys from Jersey. I'm a huge fan of this band. They are by far my favorite thrash metal band. Shout out to my brother JJ Burton who got me into this band. This one's for you. The band formed in 1980 in New Jersey. They're one of the most successful East Coast thrash bands ever. They've been called the Motorhead of thrash. In fact, the band name comes from the title of Motorhead's second album. The band has recorded 20 studio albums in 45 years that they've wreaked havoc on the world. They were heavily influenced by punk and the new wave of British heavy metal. By 1983, they had recorded a demo called Power in Black, with a lineup that consisted of Bobby Blitz Ellsworth, vocals, Dee Verney, bass, Bobby Gustafson, guitar, and Rat Skates, drums. Off the success of that demo, and after a couple of compilation appearances, which led to a 4-song self-titled EP in '85, which caught the attention of an independent label, Megaforce Records, which signed the band to a multi-album deal. They dropped their first album, Feel the Fire, in October of '85, which has been hailed by critics and fans alike as a landmark album. After a grueling tour, several major labels became interested in signing them. Eventually, they decided to sign with Atlantic Records. In March of '87, the band released its second record, Taking Over. They also dropped their first music video for the single In Union We Stand. By late '87, they had also dropped the Fuck You EP. It was while touring in between, it was around this time that founding drummer Rat Skates left the group. Mark Archibald filled in temporarily behind the kit before Sid Falk took reign over the drumming duties permanently. Then in '88, the band released their third effort, Under the Influence. It spawned the single Hello from the Gutter. Then it was tour at breakneck speed. The band made a statement with their fourth record, The Years of Decay. They also got a lot of airplay on MTV's Headbangers Ball with the music video for a fan favorite, the song Elimination. This album remained raw, but had more polished songwriting from the guys. After the tour ended in 1990, Overkill and Gustafson parted ways. It's under dispute whether Gustafson quit the band or was fired by Verney and Ellsworth. It's been speculated that musical direction may have caused the split. Gustafson claims it was a dispute over royalties that caused a stir between the two parties. Bitterness has been exhibited by both sides over the years. I had to give you some backstory to talk about my favorite era of the band. It's my favorite because it's where my journey with them began. We're talking 1990 to 1995. 3 incredible albums were written and toured for. We also got a phenomenal live album to end this era of the group. Verney, Ellsworth, with Falk, added 2 guitarists to replace Gustafson. That's right, 2. First off, Bobby G was that good, folks. Rob Canavino had been his guitar tech before joining the band to fill one of those slots. Merrick Gant would fill the other slot. Gant had formerly played in Faith or Fear. Together, these two were a killer tandem, in my humble opinion. I love the dueling solos in the vein of Priest and Maiden. In '91, the new lineup would record the band's 5th album, Horrorscope. This record revealed a heavier, darker sound with a hint of doom even. 2 videos were produced for singles, Thanks for Nothing and the title track I mentioned earlier. Other great tracks are Coma, Infectious, Blood Money. Hell, they even did a cover of Frankenstein by Edgar Winter Group. The whole album is fucking great. The two-guitar attack had worked, and Overkill was riding high. Years later, in an interview, Ellsworth would claim that they wanted to try some different things. Plus, had they just got one guitar player, Blitz claims, everybody would have said Bobby is better than the guy we got. Also, he said it keeps things fresh, and the older stuff sounded great with two guitars. After the tour ended, Falk left the band. Supposedly, he was never really into thrash. He just wanted to challenge himself as a player, and he felt that he had done that. Tim Mallory, the former MOD drummer, would replace Falk. Going into my favorite album of the studio efforts, this would be the record that made me a gigantic fan, even though it doesn't get all the acclaim it deserves in my opinion. It's a great fucking album. In March of '93, I Hear Black would drop, the sixth Overkill album. They opted to go in a different direction, going with a more trippy blues flavor, with an ode to Sabbath in their sound as well. Supposedly, the record had different songwriters involved, as opposed to previous efforts where Verney and Ellsworth did the bulk of the songwriting. A video was shot for Spiritual Void, but it got minor airplay. It was a damn shame. This record is a fucking masterpiece in my opinion. Every song on this album speaks to me. Some standouts include Weight of the World, Shades of Grey, Feed My Head, World of Hurt, and the title track, to name a few. After touring, they'd head back into the studio to record album number 7, which would be named WFO, which stood for Wide Fucking Open, a popular biker term. It dropped on July 5th, 1994. After the criticism for I Hear Black, WFO went back more to the roots of old school thrash. The groove was infectious. There was a video made for Fast Junkie, but it received little to no play. Grunge was dominating radio play at this time. Again, it's a fucking tragedy, with such tracks as When It Hurts, The Way to New High and Lows, Under One, and Gasoline Dream, to name a few. Unfortunately, the end of an era was rapidly approaching, starting with Atlantic Records parting ways with the group. Losing a major label is a big deal, and with Canavino and Gant soon to depart, a new era was on the horizon, though we're not diving into that tonight. But instead of slowing down or getting upset about losing a big label, they moved forward. In fact, they felt the label never done as much as they could have, and had paid them little to no attention. In March of '95, a show recorded live in Cleveland, Ohio, would become the first full-length album for their new label, CMC International. It was a great live album, and it sounded like the crowd loved it. What a send-off for this lineup. Wrecking Your Neck was the cherry on top for me. All eras of the group are killer in my opinion. The boys from Jersey are still kicking ass and taking names in present day. Most of all, they're still writing great music. And again, they're aging like fine wine. And here's the point here. No matter what the styles they went to or where they went, Overkill always found a way to sound like Overkill. And like I said, write great music. And in the end, that's where it matters most. Well, that's our episode for tonight. Remember, music is the soundtrack of our lives. Peace, love, and linen. I'm Damian Deadlove.